I believe Chimaev's just a whole nother animal, dude. His wrestling, his confidence. I mean, this dude, from what I've heard from a lot of people, this dude literally trains like nobody has ever seen before.
The hype is real. Khamzat Chimaev remarkably does it again.
By switching sides, he got the right angle. The Leech's shoulders were off of him.
Everybody, I come here for everybody. Kill everybody. I'm the champ, I'm the king.
I think he's the scariest contender we have seen for a while.
Smash somebody, you get money, brother. It's perfect for me.
It's another win for Khamzat Chimaev. He is a wrecking ball at welterweight as well. 2-0 in the UFC, 8-0 professionally. We have ourselves a new star.
I always look at the finish.
Khamzat Chimaev is a Russian MMA and freestyle wrestler who sent shockwaves throughout the boxing world. The dominant fighter from Chechnya has had an extraordinary journey to get to where he is today. In this video, I take you through all the ups and downs of his life and his record-breaking MMA career. Chimaev was born as Khamzat Kizarovich Girikanov in the village of Gvardiskoye in Chechnya, Russia. At that time, the village was part of the independent Chechen Republic of Ichkeria. Much of his childhood was spent during the Chechen Wars. He was previously talked about growing up in the war against Russia.
It was war. A war is like war against Russia, and then the people in Chechnya, they get war against Chechen people. There's many bullshit things.
Like many others in the region, his fighting spirit was ignited early, as he started wrestling when he was only 5 years old. When speaking about his childhood memories, he had some very interesting but horrifying stories to tell. He talks about how they would sometimes find grenades, and some of his friends even got killed because they didn't know how to use them.
Sure, many things, you know, like you find some of my friends find and they get killed because they couldn't use that things, you know, like.
He goes on to say that many kids in Chechnya have died like that. He also describes how the Russian military would come to people's houses and check them. And as a kid, he remembers everyone being scared.
Yeah, I was always military, you know, like come to your house and check your house and everything. And always was like, I was kid, was nervous and...
So when you talk about your family, who is that?
My mother, my father, and my brothers and sisters. We're a big family, and 2 brothers, 3 sisters.
Khamzat comes from a large family consisting of his parents, 2 brothers, and 3 sisters. His village didn't have that many people, but they all knew each other and treated each other like family. He describes them all as his brothers and sisters. The traditional sport in his village, as you might have guessed, was wrestling. So much so that boys who didn't come to wrestling training were mocked as being girls.
They say, like, we joke with the guys who don't come to the training, you girl, like, you know, like, yeah, you have to train wrestling, you have to be tough and these things, you know, in the village.
Khamzat had a very strong relationship with his older brother, Artur Chimaev. Artur is also a freestyle wrestler. Khamzat describes how his brother got him into wrestling as a kid. I was only a wrestler because my brother put me everywhere.
I was only wrestler because my brother put me everywhere. If somewhere it's like other village, they have boxing, they have like...
If there was a wrestling competition in any village, his brother would make sure Khamzat took part. While Artur put him into all these competitions, Khamzat describes his brother as more level-headed than him. When it comes to real street fights, his brother actually kept him out of them and made sure he didn't end up in jail. If it wasn't for my big brother, maybe I was in some jail somewhere, because I'm sometimes a little bit crazy guy.
If that was my big brother, maybe I was in some jail somewhere, I don't know.
Why do you say that?
Because I'm sometimes a little crazy guy.
The only person who can stop me is him, because I love him so much. When asked why he ended up like this, Khamzat describes the tough background he grew up in, which caused him to become angry and lose control easily.
I like to be nice to people and, you know, and speak with the guys and help somebody. This is my thing. And when I get angry, sometimes you forget many things and you become a little bit crazy.
But I like to be nice to people and, you know, speak with the guys, help somebody. This is my thing. But when I get angry, sometimes you forget many things and can be a little bit crazy. That's why I have my big brother. In 2013, when he was 18 years old, he emigrated to Sweden along with his mother. There, he joined his elder brother.
And he moved to Sweden, and then you and your mother moved to Sweden a little while after to join him. And you were wrestling in the Swedish program, but you couldn't do everything you wanted because of the papers?
Yeah.
Before his professional career began, he worked at a poultry factory in Kalmar, Sweden, and also did security work. His freestyling career took off after he moved to Sweden. He wrestled at multiple clubs, including BK Athen. He was considered one of the best freestyle wrestlers in Sweden. Chimaev won a gold medal at 86 kilograms in the 2016 and 2017 Swedish Freestyle Wrestling Championships. A year later, in 2018, he won it again at 92 kilograms. He boasts an overall record of 12-0 in the tournaments. His combined score across all three showdowns is an impressive 105 points, all while only conceding 2 points. During this time, Chimaev has also competed in judo tournaments and combat sambo fights. However, he's also faced some obstacles in Sweden. He describes that due to not ever getting the citizenship of Sweden, he wasn't able to do everything he wanted to do.
You can get Swiss passports, and you can get papers because you can live there.
He mentions how some of the people he decisively beat have even been in the Olympics, but he couldn't take part because he didn't have the papers. This was all going to lay the foundation for his MMA career. You'll be shocked to hear what inspired Chimaev to pursue a career in MMA. In an exclusive interview with ESPN, Khamzat revealed that it was Conor McGregor's 13-second knockout of Jose Aldo at UFC 194 that inspired him.
I was watching in Fabric, I was watching his fight. I was working on a fight Aldo. I was sitting in night and was working the night and on Fabric.
He'd taken a 15-minute break during a night of work to watch the match. He asked himself, if these guys can make millions doing this, why can't I?
Guy did that, why I'm not going to do it. I'm mentally I'm stronger than him, my body is bigger than him, I know. And I was feeling if at that time just meet him outside, I can broke him, you know. If he makes that money, why not me?
When he was 23, he started training in mixed martial arts at the All-Star Training Center in Stockholm. He moved there from the Swedish town Kalmar, where he used to train at a local wrestling club. At the All-Star Training Center, he was training along with the three-time UFC Championship challenger Alexander Gustafsson, who later told a Swedish reporter that Chimaev was one of the best fighters that he'd ever trained with.
It's nobody that trains like him. Nobody. I haven't seen it. I've been around the world seeing fighters train and having their camps and then training for a fight. This guy is just doesn't get tired.
Nobody trains like him. Nobody. I haven't seen it. I've been around the world seeing fighters train, having their camps and then training for a fight. This guy, he just doesn't get tired. He doesn't he doesn't feel any pain, just goes through it.
He doesn't feel any pain. He just go through it.
Chimaev had 3 amateur MMA fights between September 2017 and April 2018. He won all 3 fights, 2 via submission and 1 by technical knockout. This led to the beginning of his professional career on 26th of May 2018. At International Ring Fight Arena 14, he won his debut fight against guard Oliver Sagan via technical knockout. His next fight was on 18th of August of the same year against Ole Magner. He won again, this time via submission with a rear naked choke in the first round. These 2 professional fights in Sweden led him to sign with the Brave Combat Federation, a Middle Eastern organization. He was scheduled to make his prominent debut against Benjamin Bennett in November 18, but Benjamin withdrew and was replaced by the undefeated prospect Marko Kisic. Chimaev went on to win the fight with a technical knockout in the first round, successfully ending Kisic's undefeated streak.
Big hammer fist, that's it! It's all over! Marko Kisic protesting the stoppage.
Chimaev's next fight was shortly after in December 18 against Sidney Wheeler. He got a win via technical knockout in the first round, in only 35 seconds.
Those are huge strikes! Oh!
He won a few more fights before earning a BCF welterweight championship match on 18th of April 2020. However, the COVID-19 pandemic became a barrier to what could have been his first championship win. The event was postponed, and then later the match got cancelled altogether, as Chimaev had just made a major decision that would shake the foundation of the boxing world. He was going to sign with the UFC. His UFC promotional debut came against John Phillips in a middleweight bout. On July 16, 2020, at UFC on ESPN 14, he won the fight via submission in the second round. The fight earned him a Performance of the Night award, an award that he would also win for his next 2 fights. His next fight came only 10 days later, against newcomer Rhys McKee. He won the fight via technical knockout in the first round. This was a record-breaking win, as it marked a new UFC record for fastest consecutive wins in modern UFC history. 10 days.
And just constant ground and pound and just insane, beautiful performance again from Khamzat Chimaev. Just a beautiful performance.
This isn't the only record he would break. On 19th of September 2020 at UFC Fight Night 178, he had his third UFC fight against Gerald Meerschaert.
You can go ahead and try there, buddy. You have to give me your back belt to me. All right, if you choke me out, I'll find a black belt, give it to you. How about that?
He won via knockout in only 17 seconds, earning him a third consecutive Performance of the Night award. He also made a new record. It was the fastest 3-fight winning streaks in modern-day UFC history, 66 days. Unfortunately, after the record-breaking start to his UFC career, the trouble soon began for Chimaev. His next scheduled fight with Leon Edwards was postponed as he tested positive for COVID-19 on 29th of November. After multiple delays due to both fighters suffering from COVID, the match was eventually cancelled.
Khamzat Chimaev versus Leon Edwards has fallen through for the 3rd time due to Khamzat's lingering COVID-19 symptoms. When it comes to COVID-19, I think we all expect young people.
Chimaev faced long COVID, which means he had lingering symptoms and he was also hospitalized multiple times. In March 2021, Chimaev made a bombshell announcement on his Instagram where he now has over 8 million followers. He said that he was retiring from the sport. He later explained it was because of the lung complications he was facing due to COVID. The Instagram post was in Russian and said, "I want to say thank you to everyone for their support in my path in this sport. I think I'm done. Yeah. I know that I didn't take the belt, but this isn't the most important victory in this life. It may upset you, but my heart and body tell me everything." In another Instagram post, he also posted a picture of what appeared to be blood in a sink. He wrote, "The main thing is I do not know what this disease is, but it's not easily outlived." Khamzat later deleted the image. President of UFC Dana White later came out and denied that he was retiring, explaining his Instagram post as an emotional response. Apparently, Khamzat was experiencing side effects of the prednisone medicine during a training session. These side effects include depression and anxiety. Dana White is a huge admirer of the Russian-born Swede and had brought him to Las Vegas for treatment. White told MMA Junkie when he got here, the doctors took care of him and they put him on prednisone, which is a nasty steroid. So he's on prednisone and he's supposed to be taking this thing and chilling, relaxing and letting himself recover. He went in and trained today. Felt like he got super emotional and posted that. Chimaev's association with the Chechen leader Ramzan Kadyrov has also invited much speculation and controversy. They're seen as very close, to the point Kadyrov once gifted Khamzat a Mercedes-Benz. He crashed the car only a few months later though. When Chimaev got married on May 21, 2022 in Chechnya, the ceremony was attended by Kadyrov. Kadyrov and his family regularly appear on Chimaev's social media. Chimaev seemingly also acts as an MMA coach for the controversial leader's sons. After Chimaev was considering retiring during his recovery from COVID, Kadyrov allegedly convinced Chimaev to not retire from MMA. He also asked him to return to Chechnya to start training again.
I'm doing training here, like in Chechnya, my country. Like now it's Ramadan, like everybody know, like special one for us.
In an Instagram post, the head of the Chechen Republic had this to say. Khamzat said that the recovery from illness is slow, and trying to be honest and frank with the fans, he decided not to give them hope. Kadyrov wrote, "I told him that all the Chechen people were upset by this news. I reminded Chimaev that all our young people, whom he inspires, are pinning great hopes on his victory. But what can I say? Millions of fans in Russia and the world. And if fans need to wait for his return, then we will all look forward to his entry into the octagon with trepidation and patience." Kadyrov then claims that Chimaev had a change in mind. During our conversation, Chimaev realized how important his career is for every Chechen and promised to make every effort to recover as soon as possible. Kadyrov wrote, "In the near future, he will fly to the Republic, where he will complete a rehabilitation course, holding a training camp and start training. And this means that Khamzat does not leave. He remains and will beat to the end." The Instagram post included a screenshot of what appeared to be a FaceTime conversation between Kadyrov and Chimaev. This has sparked speculation that Chimaev might actually have been forced to stay in MMA against his will. It's important to know here that Ramzan Kadyrov is a sanctioned former warlord who's faced much criticism for his brutality and his allegiance to Russian President Putin. The Russian invasion of Ukraine once again brought spotlight to the relationship Chimaev and other MMA fighters have with Kadyrov. The UFC had to clarify that it doesn't have any commercial dealings with Kadyrov or his associates. CNN even reached out to Chimaev to comment on his relationship with Kadyrov in wake of the Ukraine war, but they didn't receive any response. He returned to the boxing ring in September 2021.
How do you expect this fight with Jing Liang to go, and what do you think of him as an opponent?
Everyone says strong guy and punch hard, something I always I hear.
He defeated Li Jingliang via technical submission, choking him unconscious in round 1 using a rear naked choke. And you might have guessed it, he won his 4th consecutive Performance of the Night award. The first decisive victory of his career would come in his next fight in April 2022. He defeated Gilbert Burns at UFC 273 via unanimous decision.
I'm gonna learn a lot of things from this fight because one day I didn't know gonna happen. That I was waiting for that things, and I'm happy.
The fight earned him more awards, including the Fan Bonus of the Night award on Crypto.com. Next, he was scheduled to face Nate Diaz in September 2022 in the main event of UFC 279. Unfortunately for the fans eager to see the result, the match didn't go ahead as Chimaev was over the weight limit for a welterweight non-title fight.
178.5, the official weight for Khamzat Chimaev.
He instead faced Kevin Holland, winning the fight in the first round. After this, he took a 1-year break from the sport, citing health reasons. In 2023, Chimaev moved from Sweden to the UAE and decided to represent the country in international competition. Chimaev returned to fighting in October 2023 at UFC 294 and announced that he was moving up to middleweight. He was originally scheduled to face Paulo Costa, but Costa had to pull out of the match due to surgery. Instead, he faced former UFC welterweight champion Kamaru Usman. Chimaev won the fight by a majority decision. That makes 7 straight wins for Chimaev in his UFC career. But questions have been raised about the real reason why he's been so inactive recently. He's only had 2 fights since April 2022, and the UFC doesn't seem to be finding more opponents for him. Is it his absolute dominance that scared away competition, or is there some other deeper issue at play here? There were discussions for Leon Edwards versus Khamzat Chimaev at UFC 300 in Las Vegas, which is on April 14, 2024.
Well, recently it's kind of been reignited because there was discussion of Leon Edwards versus Khamzat Chimaev at UFC 300 in Las Vegas, and it reignited discussion.
However, the fact that the match was turned down and couldn't go ahead has reignited some rumors that Chimaev is not able to enter the United States. There's speculation that he may be unable to obtain a work visa due to his strong connections to Ramzan Kadyrov.
And that he's unable to obtain a work visa due to his connections with Ramzan Kadyrov, who is a Chechen warlord. And basically, this has been speculated on for over a year now.
There was even an article released on this by Whittaker titled "How a UFC Star Was Banned from Entering the United States," giving credibility to the rumors. The article cites an interview released just before UFC 294 last October, in which Chimaev's coach Alan Nascimento disclosed that the fighter was encountering difficulties entering the United States. This might also explain why he moved to the UAE recently. Chimaev just got a 10-year-old visa in Abu Dhabi and will apply for a type of passport here in the UAE, something like a citizenship that could be used for travel. Nascimento said, "Many Russian athletes are suffering with that. Chechens, Dagestanis, and Russians in general. But I think things will start to flow for Chimaev soon, and for other athletes too. Around a year ago, Dana White was directly asked about whether Chimaev was having trouble traveling to the US. He danced around, giving a straight answer before eventually denying it.
Is there anything precluding him from fighting in the US? Because we keep hearing about him fighting in October, which is a pretty long wait from his last fight to his next fight.
Yeah, that's on him though. He's got stuff going on in his personal life. That's not because...
For now, we don't know the full truth. So, what does the future hold for Chimaev, who has yet to win any championship in the UFC and has a history of facing both health and travel issues? Well, only time will tell. That's all for this video. What do you think about Khamzat Chimaev's career's ups and downs? What do you think is next for him in the UFC? Let us know in the comments.